and we're going to factor a trinomial using the grouping method. We're gonna, this method works for every single trinomial. So we're going to factor x squared plus 8x plus 12. I'm going to identify a, b, and c because I'm going to need those. A is 1, b is 8, c is 12. Now I want to find, in order for this to work, I have to find two numbers that multiply to a times c, which is 12, and add to 8. So this one isn't too difficult. 6 and 2. If you multiply them together, they get 12. If you add them, they get 8. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take x squared plus 8x plus 12, and I'm going to rewrite it with this middle term being replaced with 6x and 2x. So I'm going to get x squared plus 6x, and it doesn't matter if you go 2x first or 6x first. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to group. I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor. Notice that I get a match. So my one binomial comes from x plus 6, and then my second one comes from x plus 2. And I'm done. Why don't you go ahead and hit pause. Actually answer the video question. You're going to work this one out on your own and come back and check it. All right, a is 1, b is negative 11, c is 30. We're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give positive 30 and add together to give negative 11. So in order for the product to be positive and the sum to be negative, they both have to be negative. So we could have like negative 3 and negative 10. That would multiply to get 30, but it would add to negative 13, so that doesn't work. Negative 5 and negative 6, that adds together to give negative 11. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this as, instead of writing x squared plus 11 minus 11x plus 30, I'm going to write this as x squared minus 5x plus negative 6x plus 30. And then I'm going to group these together and the first two together. And I'm going to pull out my greatest common factor, which is x. And that leaves me x minus 5. And then I'm going to pull out a negative 6, which leaves me x minus 5. And then I have a match here and here. So I get x minus 5 times x minus 6. All right. This next one, we have a coefficient of a is 2, b is 7, c is 3. Same process. I have to list factors of a times c. So it's things that multiply to give me 6 and add to give me b, which is 7. So I'm going to choose 1 and 6, and I get there right away. So now I'm going to rewrite the original. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to rewrite it as 2x squared plus 1x plus 6x plus 3. And then I'm going to group. This is my factor by grouping. I'm going to take out an x and I get 2x plus 1. And I'm going to take out a 3 and I get 2x plus 1. So then here's my match, 2x plus 1. And my other binomial is x plus 3. Just like that. Why don't you hit pause and try this one on your own? The numbers are bigger, but the process is still the same. All right, we have a negative 12 and 8 and 15. So we're looking for numbers that multiply to a negative 180 and add to 8. So I need 18 and negative 10. That gives me 8. So now I'm going to take negative 12x squared, and instead of writing 8x, I'm going to write it as minus 10x. If I can tuck my negative behind here, I usually do that. Plus 18x plus 15. And then I'm going to group. And I'm going to factor out a 2x, negative 2x. And I'm going to get 6x plus 5, and then I'm going to factor out a 3, and I get 6x plus 5, and now I have a match here, and I get 6x plus 5, and then I get minus 2x plus 3. We can even do this with more than one squared term. So if you think about it, if a single x squared got us an x and an x in the first position, if we have x squared plus 8xy plus 12y squared, we better end up with an xy and an xy in our binomials, okay? From here, you just do everything the same. A is 1, B is 8, C is 12. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to 1 times 12 is 12 and add to 8. And again, I got 6 and 2. So what I'm going to do is instead of writing 8xy, I'm going to take x squared plus, and now I'm going to make this 6xy plus 2xy. I know it has to be an xy because my original had an xy, plus 12y squared. And now I'm going to group, and I'm going to pull out an x, and I get x plus 6y, and I'm going to pull out a 2y, and I get x plus 6y. Here's my match. So I get x plus 6y, and then x plus 2y. Go ahead and answer the video questions and come back and check your work. All right, on this one, we have A is 2, B is 18, C is 40. So we want two numbers that multiply to 80 and add to 18. But wait, look, because I can factor out a 2 from everything. So let's go back. Let's go back and let's reduce this so it'll make our calculations a little bit easier. Let's factor out a 2. That's going to give me m squared plus 9mn plus 20n squared. Now I'm going to use these as my trinomial. I'm going to keep this star so I don't forget to pull it down at the very end. Okay, and now I have A is 1, B is 9, and C is 20. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 20 and add to 9. Multiply to 20, positive, and add to 9. All right? We don't have to worry about the n squared and the n right here, okay? We don't have to worry about those. All right, so if we do 4 and 5, both positive, then that adds to 9. So I'm going to leave that 2 alone. Remember, I brought it down here, but I don't want it to muddy the waters here. So I'm going to go m squared. Now instead of writing 9mn, I'm going to go plus 4mn plus 5mn. See, I just changed the way it looked, but I haven't changed its value. Plus 20n squared. And now I'm going to group, and I'm going to factor out an m from the first one, and I get m plus 4n. Then I'm going to factor out a 5n, and I get m plus 4n. And see how I have a match here? So I have m plus 4n, and then I have m plus 5n, and then I have this 2. All right, and then I'm done. I factored it just like this. We have to be really good factors so that we can be really good solvers. So here's what we're going to do in class. You probably have this sheet with you, so try working on some of them at home. I'll see you in the morning or tomorrow.